Every single one of us, at some point, has felt that surge of excitement, that burning desire to share our grand vision, our brilliant strategy, our meticulously crafted plans with the world. We've all been there, standing on the precipice of a new endeavor, brimming with confidence, and the first instinct is to broadcast it, to seek validation, to gather applause before the first stone is even laid. You've probably done it. You've sketched out a revolutionary business idea, a cunning career move, a personal transformation, and then, almost instinctively, you've called a friend, told a family member, or perhaps even posted it online. You felt good, didn't you? That initial rush of approval, the encouraging words, the feeling of being understood and supported. It's a natural human impulse, deeply ingrained in our social fabric. We crave connection, validation, and the shared excitement of a future success. But what if this very impulse, this seemingly harmless act of sharing, is not just unproductive, but actively detrimental to your success? What if, in revealing your plans, you are not building a foundation, but inadvertently laying traps for your own downfall? The conventional wisdom tells us to share, to collaborate, to be transparent. But the world of power, influence, and true strategic dominance operates on a different set of rules. Rules that are often uncomfortable, counterintuitive, and brutally effective. But to Machiavelli, that moment you open your mouth, that instant you articulate your nascent ambition, your secret weapon, your hidden agenda, that's the moment you begin to lose. Because the second you reveal your plans, you invite opposition. You create targets. You surrender the element of surprise, the most potent weapon in the arsenal of the truly powerful. You don't just expose your intentions, you expose your vulnerabilities. And in the ruthless arena of human interaction, where perception is everything and advantage is seized by the cunning, revealing. Your hand is an act of strategic suicide. If they know your next move, they can counter it. If they understand your objective, they can obstruct it. If they see your path, they can lay mines. This is the brutal law Machiavelli understood with chilling clarity. The unseen hand is the most powerful. The unrevealed plan is the most unstoppable. The moment your ambition becomes audible, it becomes vulnerable. They don't see a visionary, they see a threat they can neutralize. This is not about being secretive for secrecy's sake. It's about understanding the profound strategic advantage of operating from the shadows, of allowing your actions to speak louder than any premature declaration. Let's get one thing straight. Announcing your plans rarely galvanizes genuine support. What it often does is shift the power away from you and into the hands of potential rivals, skeptics, or even unwitting saboteurs. The strong, the truly strategic, they let their intentions remain veiled. They let their ambitions simmer in silence, cultivating their power in the unseen. They know the real move is this: operate in stealth. Let your results be the first announcement. Make your success an undeniable fact before anyone even knew you were aiming for it. The immediate psychological impact of this principle is profound. When you reveal nothing, you become an enigma. Your silence breeds speculation, and speculation breeds respect, or at least a healthy dose of caution. People are forced to react to your accomplished facts, not your whispered dreams. This isn't about emotional weakness or seeking validation. It's about strategic control, about maintaining the upper hand by denying your adversaries the intelligence they need to compete. It's about understanding that the most effective way to dominate unseen is to ensure your plans remain precisely that, unseen until their manifestation is an unassailable reality. Most people reveal their plans because they crave external validation, a premature celebration, or perhaps a sense of accountability. They believe that by vocalizing their intentions, they are somehow solidifying them, making them more real. But that belief comes from a place of emotional need, not strategic foresight. You don't want clarity from others. You want control over your own narrative and trajectory. Clarity is for those who seek comfort. Control is for those who seek power. The psychological underpinning of Machiavelli's counsel is simple yet profound. Human nature is inherently competitive, often envious, and rarely genuinely supportive of another's ascent. When you announce your intentions, you activate a complex web of psychological responses in others. Some will feel threatened, others will be skeptical, and a few might even unconsciously wish for your failure. This isn't necessarily malice, it's often a subconscious reaction to perceived competition or a challenge to their own status quo. By keeping your plans private, you bypass this psychological minefield. You deny others the opportunity to project their fears, insecurities, or competitive urges onto your nascent endeavors. You preserve your mental and emotional energy, focusing it entirely on execution rather than managing external perceptions or defending your vision against premature criticism. The why is rooted in self-preservation and strategic efficiency. Minimize resistance, maximize focus, and allow your actions to build an undeniable momentum before the world even knows what hit it. Consider a common scenario. You're at a social gathering and someone asks about your career aspirations. The average person, eager to impress or simply to fill the conversational void, might launch into a detailed explanation of their ambitious new project or their plan to switch industries. They lay out their vision, their timeline, their expected challenges. But the Machiavellian operator, he smiles, offers a vague, non-committal answer. Perhaps something like, "I'm exploring some interesting opportunities," or "I'm focused on continuous growth." No defense, no over-explanation, no premature declaration, just calm, total stillness regarding their true intentions. In that moment, you are untouchable. You've given them nothing to latch onto, nothing to criticize, nothing to subtly undermine. Another example, you're starting a new fitness regimen. The conventional approach is to announce it on social media, declare your goals, and seek encouragement. The Machiavellian approach, you simply start. You hit the gym, you adjust your diet, you make the changes in silence. Weeks or months later, when your physique has visibly transformed, people will notice. They will ask, "What have you been doing?" At that point, your results are the undeniable proof. The power dynamic has shifted. You are not seeking their approval for an intention. You are presenting them with an accomplished fact. This tactic applies to early-stage conflicts as well. If someone subtly probes your weaknesses or tries to gauge your reaction, say nothing. No defense, no retaliation, no smirk, just a composed silence that communicates nothing and everything. The immediate observable shift in power dynamics is that you retain all your strategic options, while others are left guessing, reacting to your impenetrable composure. You control the information flow, and in the game of power, information is currency. Now, let's delve into the colder, more elite moves that truly distinguish the Machiavellian strategist. Sometimes you don't just ignore the impulse to reveal. You actively cultivate an environment of strategic ambiguity. Consider the tactic of the false flag or the red herring, not in a malicious sense, but in a way that diverts attention from your true objective. If you must speak of plans, speak of tangential, less significant ones. Let the world believe you are focused on X, while your true efforts are meticulously directed towards Y. This isn't deception for its own sake, but a strategic misdirection that preserves your most valuable asset, the element of surprise. The psychological mechanism behind this is simple. The human mind craves narrative and explanation. If you provide a plausible, albeit misleading narrative, people will latch onto it, satisfying their need for understanding while leaving your true intentions undisturbed. Another advanced tactic is the silent accumulation of resources. This applies not just to wealth, but to knowledge, connections, and skills. While others are loudly proclaiming their intentions to learn a new skill or build a network, the Machiavellian operator is quietly, consistently, and relentlessly acquiring these assets. They don't announce their enrollment in a prestigious course. They simply emerge months later with a new, highly valuable certification. They don't broadcast their networking efforts. They simply appear at the right place, at the right time, with the right connections already forged. This silent accumulation creates an undeniable advantage, a sudden leap in capability that leaves competitors bewildered and unable to react. The effectiveness lies in the fact that by the time your rivals realize the extent of your growth, it's already too late to catch up. You've built your fortress brick by brick in the deep war arc, and now it stands unassailable. Let's apply these principles to more complex, high-stakes scenarios. Imagine you're in a competitive business meeting and a rival subtly tries to gauge your strategy for an upcoming project. The conventional response might be to offer a vague but polite answer, or perhaps even a slightly defensive one. But the Machiavellian operator, he leans back, a slight, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. He might even subtly shift the conversation to a different, less critical aspect of the project, or ask a probing question that forces the rival to reveal their own hand. He waits. He observes. He gives nothing away. The long-term strategic advantage gained here is immense. You've preserved your strategic options, while potentially gaining valuable intelligence on your competitor's thinking. In romantic or personal relationships, this principle is even more nuanced and powerful. Say your partner expresses a desire for a significant life change, perhaps moving to a new city or making a major financial decision. The average person might immediately offer their opinion, their fears, their hopes. But the Machiavellian approach is to listen intently, ask clarifying questions, and absorb information without immediately committing to a stance. You allow them to fully articulate their vision, their motivations, their potential pitfalls, before you reveal your own thoughts or intentions. This gives you the strategic advantage of understanding their complete landscape before you position yourself. It's not about being unsupportive, it's about strategic patience and information gathering. In online interactions where oversharing is rampant, the principle of not revealing your plans becomes a superpower. While others are broadcasting every thought, every aspiration, every minor setback, you remain a quiet, consistent force. Your online presence is curated, professional, and reveals only what serves your strategic objectives. This creates an aura of competence and mystery, making your eventual successes seem even more impactful because they emerge from a foundation of quiet, focused effort, rather than public declarations and premature fanfare. Now, you might be thinking, won't I be seen as secretive or untrustworthy? Is this manipulative? The world teaches you to be open, transparent, to share your journey. But Machiavelli saw the trap. He knew that the moment you chase universal likability, you surrender strategic advantage. This isn't about being cruel. It's about effectiveness and control. The goal is not to be liked by everyone, but to achieve your objectives. And often, achieving those objectives requires operating with a degree of strategic opacity. This isn't manipulation in the sense of malicious deception, but rather a sophisticated understanding of human psychology and the dynamics of power. You are not lying. You are simply not revealing all your cards. The common mistake people make when trying to implement these tactics is to become overtly secretive or evasive, which can indeed breed distrust. The key is to be naturally reserved, to genuinely focus on execution rather than announcement. It's about cultivating an internal discipline of silence, not an external performance of secrecy. Another pitfall is mistaking silence for inaction. Not revealing your plans doesn't mean you don't have any or that you're not working diligently towards them. On the contrary, it means your energy is entirely directed towards the work itself, rather than the performance of planning. The Machiavellian strategist understands that the true power lies not in the declaration of intent, but in the quiet, relentless pursuit of its realization. The world will judge you by your results, not your eyes, intentions. And by keeping your intentions veiled, you ensure that your results are the only narrative that truly matters. So, we return to the core Machiavellian law. Never reveal your plans. Most people think power is about proving yourself, about demonstrating your capabilities, about garnering public support for your vision. But Machiavelli would smirk at this, because the second you try to prove anything, you've already declared the other person's judgment valid. You've ceded control. Here's the profound paradox. The more you explain yourself, the more alone you look. The more you announce your intentions, the more you invite the very opposition you seek to overcome. True power doesn't need to announce itself. It simply is. It manifests through action, through results, through an undeniable presence that leaves no room for doubt or debate. The wisdom lies in understanding that the greatest leverage comes from operating in the unseen, from allowing your efforts to mature in the quiet, fertile ground of privacy, only to emerge as an unassailable reality. The world is full of talkers, of those who endlessly articulate their dreams. The Machiavellian path is for the doers, for those who understand that the most potent declarations are made not with words, but with accomplished facts. Imagine a transformed state. You move through the world with an aura of quiet competence, an almost impenetrable composure. Accusations, doubts, and premature judgments simply evaporate before they land, because there's no visible target for them to strike. You radiate an effortless power, not because you've announced your strength, but because your actions consistently demonstrate it. This isn't about brute force or emotional reactivity. It's about an internal shift, a strategic design that allows you to control perception, without ever needing to engage in the petty theatrics of self-promotion or defensive posturing. Your success becomes a quiet, undeniable force, a testament to a disciplined mind that understands the profound advantage of strategic silence. You become untouchable, not through aggression, but through an almost invisible mastery of your own narrative. This is when power becomes effortless, when your influence grows organically from the sheer weight of your accomplishments, rather than the fleeting echoes of your intentions. Machiavelli didn't care about being good. He cared about being in control, and the one who never reveals their plans is always in control of perception, even when surrounded by those who seek to undermine them. This mastery doesn't happen overnight. You build it like a fortress, stone by stone, through consistent restraint, through choosing stillness over reaction, through prioritizing execution over announcement. This is the path of true strategic dominance, a journey into the deeper mechanics of human behavior and power. Continue to explore these uncomfortable truths to refine your understanding of the unseen forces that govern success. The more you internalize these principles, the more you will find yourself operating from a position of unassailable strength, your ambitions manifesting with a quiet, devastating efficiency. The world will watch, bewildered, as your silent efforts yield undeniable triumphs. And that, my friend, is the ultimate Machiavellian victory.